What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to the Life to Metal. I'm going to do a video showing off some of my favorite new wave of traditional heavy metal bands. And this is kind of a takeoff video from Farley from the VC. He showed his top 10. And I'm going to do 15, but I'm not going to say them necessarily in any kind of order, like all these, except for maybe the top few that I put at the top because they are some of my favorites. But yeah, I'm going to show 15 bands that just new wave of traditional heavy metal. He kind of mixed in some newer death metal, some newer thrash metal. I'm going to kind of stick to the traditional style heavy metal, which even in that case isn't all the same. First of all, I'm going to show the band is playing in the background. This is, as far as I know, only been released on CD. This is Primal. This is their only album. Came out last year, and it features some heavyweights, some guys that have been around for a while. But they are a new band, and they are playing traditional heavy metal, as you can hear. But the band is made up of some guys you might recognize in here. This is George Ikabelis from who's been in several bands, but most notably in Hyrax, and then Glenn Rogers, who has been in Hyrax and Heretic and Deliverance, Steel Vengeance, among other classic bands. Just a very good CD from them. It's going to be spinning in the background the entire time that I'm yammering on about this stuff. But anyhow, Primal, their one and only album, self-titled. Can't remember the label this came out on. Del Imaginario Discos. So I would imagine. Oh, this is from Argentina. My pressing is. So I don't know if there's a U.S. pressing or not. But very good album from them. If you're into standard traditional heavy metal, some kind of hit speed metal at times, you can kind of hear Glenn Rogers' influence on some of these songs. So you get kind of a closer to a speed metal sound. But for the most part, sticking to traditional metal. This next one is working on a new album. So far, all they have out is this one EP, which I absolutely love. This is a band called Old Wolf. You may see me wearing this band's t-shirts in my video, or talking about them in what's spinning videos, but just a fantastic heavy metal band. Very raw heavy metal, but fantastic musicianship. Kind of reminds me of like of Iron Maiden's, I'm gonna say Killers, to Number of the Beast, kind of in that area. Great guitar solos, dual leads, kind of just gruff vocals that just fit perfectly the raw metal style. And yeah, I'm looking forward to these guys' new CD coming out in the future. I don't know if they're on a label yet, but I know they're working on new music. Check out their YouTube channel and check out their Facebook page for updates for them. This is another new band. They've only put out this one album so far. This one actually came out in 2015 or 16. 2015. This is Final Sign. These guys are awesome. Again, these guys feature a few veterans that you might recognize. So right here we've got Brian Hellstar Williams, who of course is known for his work with October 31st, among others. And then vocals, awesome vocalist Sean Pallotta. A lot of you guys might know him from the various bands he was in, but he's been around a long time. Going back as far as Oracle, and the album Selah, which was released on vinyl finally, I think a year ago or so. But yeah, excellent album from Final Sign. Traditional heavy metal, influenced by that kind of early '80s metal blade sound. That's kind of what I always think of when I think of this band. Very good stuff. If you're into, again, straight up heavy metal from a newer band. Now this band is made up of all younger guys. And a girl, maybe. No, all guys. This is Skullfist, Canadian band. They have, I believe, 2 full-length albums out and an EP. This here was, I believe, their. I should have looked this up because now I can't remember what word it was. Doesn't matter. Fantastic Canadian band. There's a lot of this kind of great music coming out of Canada. Matter of fact, I'm going to sneak in one here that I didn't put on my list, but almost did. But this is another band, MOOR. Fantastic Canadian band. They have 3 albums out. I only have 2 of them. Released on CD only as far as I know. Just really good traditional metal from Canada. So it was kind of, for me, it was, which one do I put in? Skullfist or MOOR? So I'm just going to say it was a tie and put them both in. I think Farley did the same thing with a band, so we'll just say that's legal, right? So it's actually 16 bands. But yeah, MOOR, look them up on YouTube as well. Just fantastic. Traditional heavy metal, kind of a I don't know, I want to say a kind of a Sabbathy vibe at times. Very, very good band. Very unknown band, and worth checking into if you're into that style of traditional heavy metal. This is one a lot of people are going to probably know. There's a single from them and a full-length album from Bat. Bat are an American band featuring, I forgot who I wrote it down here, Ryan Waste. Ryan Waste from, of course, Municipal Waste, as well as Felix Griffin, who is known for his work with, DRI and MOD, among others. But this traditional metal is a little different from the galloping stuff that I've mentioned so far, or what you're hearing in the background. This has more of a Venom meets Motorhead vibe to it, which is still traditional metal to me, but very good stuff from them. Again, check them out on YouTube. These bands are all, you can check them all out on YouTube. But Bat, this one's Wings of Change, which I believe was from last year. Hell's Headbangers Records. This one happens to have the sticker in the back of it. And then here's the single for Cruel Discipline. Awesome band if you're into that style, more raw, speedy heavy metal. Again, if Motorhead meets Venom is kind of how I would describe them. Let's see, next up. This is a band I don't hear a lot about, and when I have shown them, I get criticized for it because they say, oh, this other band is better. I don't really care if this other band who sounds similar to them is better. I really like this band. This is their first full-length album, available on vinyl. This is them, not the band from the 70s, them. This is a band from now. Heavily influenced by King Diamond, if you can't tell by the name and the artwork. And their sound has that similar, you know, lower gruff vocals meets the high-pitched falsetto style vocals. This one actually has a poster in it, which I'll show you real quick. Here's the poster. My copy is autographed by their vocalist, who was also in a classic 80s thrash band called Cold Spell. Cold Steel. And actually, just happened to have that CD sitting back here. This is one of their older ones. This is actually from the 90s, I think, 1992. But yeah, same vocalist, whose name is slipping my mind at the moment. Troy Knorr on vocals, and he is also the vocalist for them. And Cold Steel has put some stuff out recently as well, including a compilation of their old demos from the 80s and early 90s, and a newer EP. Very good stuff. But yeah, also here's a postcard that came with my record. Great album. I think this is standard black vinyl. I usually order the black vinyl. Some of these may be colored. Yeah, just black vinyl. Yeah, I'll just show you the insert while I got it open over here. There's the insert. Band members. Another guy you might know in this band is bass player Mike Lepond, who I know him mostly because he was in Heathen's Rage, but he's been in several bands over the years. Great bass player. Let's see, here's the center ring. Moving on, them. If you're into King Diamond, Merciful Fate sort of sound, them are a great band. Yes, I know Portrait is another band who sounds like that too, and I know people like them better. I like Portrait as well, but I really think that them album is spectacular, so to each his own. This is a band I only recently discovered because of guys like Reno and LJ. This is one of their older albums, but this is Screamer. No, not the Screamer from the 80s, who is also very good. This is a new wave traditional heavy metal band called Screamer. And they have a brand new album out that I still don't have. I really want to get. It's on that ridiculously long want list that I have. But yeah, very good band. Again, traditional heavy metal. From what I heard of the new album, it's very, very good. But I like their older material too. This one, I believe, is just self-titled, right? Adrenaline Distractions. Where does it say that on the cover? Or does it? I don't think it does. Anyhow, Screamer, traditional heavy metal, galloping, of course, you know, it kind of has that Judas Priest, Iron Maiden inspiration in it, which, when I think of traditional heavy metal, those are the first two bands that come to mind. Another band I've heard criticized a bit in the VC. I really like this band a lot, and don't really care what everybody else thinks. But this is CAULDRON. I believe this is their most recent album. I don't think they have anything newer than this, but this is In Ruin. Just great galloping heavy metal, kind of clean, melodic vocals. He sings kind of almost in a, I don't know how to explain it, just a very relaxed style. He's not like aggressive, he's very relaxed, but it works. It just, for me, it works anyhow. This is their In Ruin album. This is their first EP. I believe it's their first EP. Let's see, 2007 this one is. 6-song EP. This one's a little more aggressive, even in the vocal style, than their newer stuff. I think they've kind of settled into a sound in Ruin, and I think this is a great album from a great band. Again, from Canada, another one of those Canadian bands. Another band you can check out on YouTube. They're just everywhere on YouTube. I thought I'd throw this one in. I believe it's the only thing they have out at the moment. I should have looked that up. But this is Blade Killer. This is their EP. This is on, it's a split, looks like, between Stormspell and Underground Power. Underground Power is a German company. They're a record company. They're a distribution company. Very, very good company. If you look them up online, they sell all kinds of heavy metal, power metal, thrash metal. That's it. They don't do any death or black metal. Mostly just traditional metal. They carry most of the titles that of their companies I work for, like Rocks and Retroactive. So very good stuff. This is a limited number 118 of 333. So very good. It's traditional heavy metal. They do have a female bass player in Kelsey Wilson. But you can see these are all younger guys, probably in their 20s. So it's really great that bands like this are carrying on that tradition of classic heavy metal and keeping it, you know, popular. You know, people are still listening to it, still buying it. And I see, you know, younger guys in their 20s listening to traditional bands and talking about bands like, you know, Screamer and Blade Killer. And this is definitely a band who's keeping that alive. They have a lot of albums out. I think I have all of them on vinyl. But this is Striker, again, Canadian band. This is my personal favorite. This is our album from last year, I believe it was, Stand in the Fire. It might have been 2015, 16, somewhere in that area. But what I have with this album, I think, is they just really found their sound. With their first album, which I actually have a t-shirt of that album on, they kind of sounded, you can still hear all the influences being worn on their sleeves. With this album, they came into their own. I describe it as kind of like Skid Row's second album, where it's got that metal attitude, it's got the vibe, it's got the grit and grind that you want from a heavy metal band, a traditional heavy metal band, but it's also got the hooks, like a Skid Row did. You know, it's not the poppier first album, but their heavier second album. And I think that's what you get with this Striker album. It's got a mix of both, heavy metal with hooks, and I love that style, and I love this album. So their newest album is called, just self-titled, I believe. It's white, sitting right over there. I didn't bring it because this is one I wanted to show. Again, Canadian band, and I apologize, I'm going through this so fast, I'm not putting in clips, but there's just a lot to show, and I didn't want to ramble on for half an hour. I'm trying to keep this video at around 15 to 20 minutes or less. So anyhow, Spellcaster, another American band. This is their first album, this is their latest album. Frankly, I think their latest album is their best so far. I don't have their second album. Their second album's a bit harder to find. I'm looking for a copy on CD or vinyl. Haven't found it yet. Regardless, Spellcaster, Night Hides the World. Traditional heavy metal. Again, it's got that kind of Judas Priest and Iron Maiden's influences in there. Doesn't sound particularly like either band, but you can hear the influences in there. Just traditional heavy metal. You could have put this album out in 2000. Sorry, you could have put this album out in 1985 on Metal Blade Records, and it would have fit perfectly into that genre. So, Spellcaster. Self-titled, I believe this is self-titled. Can't remember the year on this one. 2014, and this one here is 2016. Aesthetic Records. Have one in between, like I said. Don't have that one. Now we're getting into bands that I just truly, I like all those bands, but these bands I play a lot. This band is just fantastic. This band's from Sweden. This is Ambush. Forgot the name there for a second. And yeah, just great heavy metal. They only have 2 albums out so far. As far as I know, they're still active though. Their last album was Desecrator, came out in 2015. Their first album came out in 2014, and it's Firestorm. And frankly, I like both albums. If I was to pick one, I'd probably go with Firestorm by a hair over Desecrator. But again, both albums great. Again, check out the song on YouTube from this single, which is called Natural Born Killers. I think you'll be impressed. Again, this band knows how to mix the metal, the chugging riffs, the galloping riffs, the pounding rhythm section, great vocals, and hooks. They have the hooks where you want to shout along and sing along and, you know what I mean? Metal. And that's what these guys are, all about metal. Love this band from Sweden. Very good band. And as a matter of fact, the next band is also from Sweden. And They have 2 albums out as well. They've recently changed their name, and I've already forgotten what they changed their name to. But they have 2 albums out under this name, Black Trip. This band, let me see. I have my computer. Let me just look real quick. Black Trip, where are they? Let's see. Anyhow, whatever. Kind of have Iron Maiden, like Paul Di'Anno era Iron Maiden, meets Thin Lizzy. I hear a ton of Thin Lizzy in this, which, of course, me being a huge Lizzy fan, I love this band as they're so influenced by that dual guitar sound that Thin Lizzy had. Fantastic. Like, this is their first album, Going Under. This is their second album, Shadowline. Music's a bit dark, lyrics are a bit dark, but you definitely get all that dual guitar harmonies and solos that Thin Lizzy were known for, even early Iron Maiden. Of course, Iron Maiden were also influenced by Thin Lizzy, so you kind of get that in here. A little more metal than Thin Lizzy were, except for maybe towards the end. But just very good stuff. You're going to get members of Enforcer in this band as well. I believe it was the drummer and the singer were at one point in Enforcer. Regardless, don't sound like Enforcer. They sound like their own band, Black Trip. And if I can find it quickly, I'll tell you what the name of the new name is they went under. I don't see it, so I'm going to skip it for now. Yeah, I don't see it on here. Regardless, I'll try and remember to put it underneath here. Black Trip from Sweden. Fantastic. With a new wave of British heavy metal sound meets Thin Lizzy. Check them out. Last 2. I kind of had a hard time deciding which album to show by these guys because I like both of them. They have 2 albums out, but I'm going to go with their latest album from 2017, For None and All. This is Spell. I've heard some people criticize the vocals, but I really like his vocals. I think it gives him a distinct sound. He's not copying anybody, you know, he sounds like himself. I'm not sitting there going, who does he sound like, you know? Kind of high-pitched, kind of very clean vocals, but very good vocals. This is another band from Canada. They started off life as with the name Striker as well. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I have their demo back here. This is their very Possessed by Heavy Metal, Striker. Of course, there was the other band from Canada who was also called Striker, I think their name was with an I and this one was a Y, but this Striker wisely chose to change their name to something else. They went with Spell. Very good album. This album happens to be autographed by the whole band down here in the corner. Unfortunately, the post office dinged my record, but I don't care. It's my record. It's signed to me, so Greg the Egg, Blackmore Rules got this signed for me, and man, I'm ever grateful to him for getting this for me. Spell. This is their 2017 album. 2016, sorry. I thought this was this year. It's last year. For None and All. Last band, easily my favorite of the bunch. I can't decide which album I like from them the best, but I tend towards this album. This is Lightbringer by Ram. These guys are still around working on a new album. Super excited about that. Everything they've released I've enjoyed. Again, they kind of have that King Diamond Merciful Fate influence in their sound, but not so much that they sound like a clone of either. They really sound like their own band. Lightbringer, definitely one of my favorites. This one being from, this is a 2016 reissue. I can't remember what year it came out. Usually I'm pretty good with years, but I can't remember the year on this one. Regardless, I'll put it on the bottom. Fantastic heavy metal. Look up Lightbringer. Look up Ram's Lightbringer on YouTube, and I think you'll dig this band as well if you're into that traditional style of heavy metal, heavily influenced by, you know, the likes of Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and those types. So there you go. That was 15 bands in, I don't know, almost 20 minutes. So did it as fast as I could. Not too bad. Hope you all appreciate this video. I want to hear your comments. What do you think of these bands? What bands do you think I should have included? I already know people are going to say Enforcer, but other bands as well. What bands do you think I should have included in this list? Oh, I want to show this as well. I'll do this real quick. This is Heavy Metal Killers. This is an album from almost 10 years ago. I think it's like 8 or 9 years old now. But this is basically the metal for mothers of a new wave of traditional heavy metal, or the metal massacres of traditional metal. But this is just a fantastic sampler album on Earache Records. It includes bands like Ram, White Wizard, Cauldron, Enforcer, and a lot of unknowns with portraits on here. Voltax, In Solitude, Cast Iron, all traditional metal. So that's it. Thanks for watching. God bless. Stay strong.